How's it going, everyone? This is Adam from Slurve, Ship My Money on DraftKings, and I'll be breaking down today's pitching slate for you for June 24th. Today's a pretty interesting slate. There's a lot of decent pitching options and a lot of spots that you're probably going to want to pay for some hitting. So I think it's going to be important to really nail your pitchers today. So for cash on DraftKings, there's really two pitchers that I'm primarily interested in right now. The first being Max Scherzer at 13,900, I believe it is, going up against Milwaukee. I think he's just the best option because even though he's priced up, he should strike out a ton of Brewers today. They strike out over 25% of the time against right-handed pitching, and they have a 90 WRC plus. He's not a guy that I expect them to be able to get to, and all those strikeouts just give him such a high floor and such a high ceiling that I don't think, even though he's expensive, I don't think he's somebody that I want to fade in cash because the other guys who have high ceilings are also expensive, and his ceiling is a lot higher, in my opinion, than guys like David Price. But today, there's also a game at Coors, so you do need to save some money somewhere at pitching if you want to get some of those Coors bats in your lineups. And in cash, I think the way to do that is with Jake Peavy going against the Phillies at 6,900. Peavy has been pitching pretty well lately, and the game is in San Francisco, which is a huge ballpark, and Peavy's a fly ball pitcher against the Phillies, who aren't really a power hitting team. They only have a 148 ISO against right-handed pitching this season with a 73 WRC plus. So I think this is a really good spot to save some money, go with Peavy. He doesn't have the highest ceiling in the world, but he's got a really good matchup, and he's in a really good ballpark, and he'll let you get some good hitters in your lineup as well. On FanDuel, I don't think there's really any way to go in cash games other than Scherzer today. He's the most expensive pitcher, but he's below 12,000. His price is low enough that you most likely will be able to get some decent hitters in your lineup with him, and I just don't think anyone really comes close to him on this slate. For GPPs, Scherzer obviously is also in play because his ceiling is so much higher than everyone else's. He's definitely someone that I will try and get into my GPP lineups. Even though he'll be popular, I just think he's the right play today. On DraftKings, I also really like Aaron Sanchez at 11,400 and David Price at, I believe, 11,000. Sanchez, I think, is overpriced, and it'll probably knock his ownership down, which is nice. Price, I think, is priced pretty fairly, but he's a guy that has been pitching well lately and has nice upside. So I'm interested in both of them. But if you need a cheaper pitcher, if you're playing those Coors bats or other expensive bats, then I think Cody Reed at 7,200 against the Padres is an interesting option because even though the Padres hit lefties better than righties, they still do strike out some. And throughout the minor leagues, Reed has been a good strikeout pitcher. So he's someone that, I think he might give up a few runs to the Padres, but at 7,200, he's priced cheap enough that you can, that I think he'll still give you a nice ceiling because of those strikeouts. And then Matt Moore against the Orioles is obviously a risky play, but at 7,000, he does have some upside in that matchup. The Orioles have a lot of righties, but they have struggled with left-handed pitching some this season. So I think he's in play. I think I like Reed more, but I do think he's playable. So on FanDuel, Scherzer, again, my number one play, but FanDuel's a site where I don't think you really need to pay up for pitching as much as on DraftKings because it's not a whip site, and the win is worth so much. If you take a cheap option and then get the right bats with it, you can still be in a pretty good spot. So Scherzer obviously is in play. If in a perfect world, you would get hitters that you love and then have enough money for Scherzer. But if you don't, guys like Cody Reed at 6,500, I think are definitely in play. PV, I think, is more in play on FanDuel for tournaments than he is on DraftKings because I expect him to be popular and on DraftKings where you need the second pitcher. But on FanDuel, he's not going to be popular because you only roster one pitcher, and there are a million pitchers on this slate that people will take ahead of Jake Peavy. But he's so cheap and in a good matchup where he should definitely get the win. So he's someone that I don't mind either. David Price and Salazar are both interesting pivots from Scherzer. I don't think I'll do it just because if I get off Scherzer, it's going to be to pay down so I can get bats, not just because I think he's going to have a bad game. So I guess my main three GPP recommendations for FanDuel would be Scherzer if you're paying up, or if you pay down, really pay down and get, Cody Reed at 6,500 or PV at 7,100. So that's what I'm thinking for right now. I, as always, will be doing more research throughout the day, and I'll be in the Slurve chat, and then we have the expert chat tonight at 5 o'clock Eastern, so definitely stop in and check that out. Good luck today, guys.